Hi, Whole30ers. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I am so excited to share with you a little behind the scenes Q&A with the Humm Kombucha co-founder, Michelle Mitchell. Michelle, thank you so much for joining me here today for this really fun conversation.
Oh, you're welcome. It's super exciting to be here. Thank you.
As you all know, Humm Kombucha makes the only Whole30 approved kombucha. I happen to have kind of an archived flavor here, the elderberry, but there was like one hanging on in my fridge that I've just been clinging to. So I'm going to sip on that as we chat. But Michelle, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about you and your journey founding or co-founding Humm Kombucha with your friend Jamie?
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. We started back in 2008, actually early 2009, and we both had moved to Bend, Oregon from Jamie came from Pennsylvania and I came from Iowa. So in the fall of '08, everybody knows the market crashed. Jamie's job went away and I hadn't been working. I'd been traveling around the world for 3 years. So we landed in Bend, didn't know anybody, became fast friends, met on the tennis courts, just laughed ourselves silly. And neither one of us were employed at the time. So we said, let's figure something out. And I had been making kombucha in my kitchen for maybe just shy of a decade at that point. I learned from my mother-in-law, who had been brewing since the early '80s. And as Jamie and I were kind of trying to figure out our next move and what we were going to do, we're sipping on this drink, and we were pretty psyched. Like we felt really good. Um, we were excited about the opportunity, and Bend is a pretty boom and bust town. So downtown, there were restaurants that were boarded up, and there wasn't a lot of job opportunities. So while we felt great and kind of the whole country was bombing at the time, we said, okay, what if it's the kombucha? This is always Jamie's line. What if it's the kombucha? I mean, I already knew that it was the kombucha, but in all seriousness, we just thought, hey, let's help people feel better. And that was really our mission from the very beginning. We just wanted to help people feel better. And we started the company, it was called Kombucha Mama at the time. And that came from, we were two mamas that just had moved to this new community that we really wanted to take care of. So we started in the Prius selling kombucha door to door. We had these gallon glass jugs, like the milkman, and we would deliver gallon glass jugs to people's doorstep, and they would put $20 under the mat and an empty gallon glass jug on their porch, and we would exchange it and bring back a full one and do this week after week. We were at the local farmers markets as well, and actually we were only brewing just an original base flavor at the time, but we partnered with a local juice company who put their flavors in pumps, and then people at the farmers market would come in and they would pump in pomegranate and lemon
So
for pomegranate
smart.
lemonade, or blueberry and add fresh mint, or whatever. So our early flavors came from this collaboration with partnership with a local juice company. Yeah, it was a ton of fun.
Um,
So about 5 years in, we decided to rebrand, and really the purpose of that is I we wanted to share this with as many people as possible. Our brand has always been about accessibility and making it. The kombuchas on the market at the time were um, they were just a little bit more vinegary and didn't have a flavor profile that the mass majority of people really gravitated towards. So we are trying to change that. And in the midst of it, we decided to rebrand to Hum, as it made it more accessible. Hum's a four-letter word. You hum when you're happy, you're humming along. Kombucha Mama with the lotus flower was amazing for Bend, Oregon, but there's no way people in Iowa were going to buy that, or Pennsylvania, where Jamie was from. So we wanted to make it more accessible for the masses. And so we rebranded 5 years in, and that was 15 years ago now at this time.
I always loved the idea that Humm Kombucha started at the same time that Whole30 did in 2009. So it's been 14 years.
Mhm.
And I love that you started in your kitchen because so many Whole30 approved brands and partners also start in their kitchen. I remember the RX bar guys sending me little
Yeah.
plastic baggies of their concoctions for me to taste test. I wish that I had known you and Jamie back in 2009 or 2010 so I could taste test Humm Kombucha too.
Yeah.
So for
That's
people who
awesome.
are
Well, we still use
watching,
the same base recipe.
oh, you do?
Mhm.
So I want to ask about
Yeah,
that
it's the
then,
same
because
base recipe. We add, different flavors on top. I'm sorry, Melissa.
no,
There's a
that's
little bit
okay. I
of a
think we have a little
drag
lag, but
in
that's
the
okay.
background.
I do want to ask for people who might not understand what kombucha is or maybe haven't bought kombucha before. Can you talk a little bit about what kombucha is and how traditionally kombucha is made?
Yeah, absolutely. So kombucha, in short, is a fermented tea, um, and it is made by you have a base sweet tea. We use a combination of green and black tea. Um, Add sugar, except with Whole30. I'll talk about the distinction between Whole30 kombucha and our regular kombucha. But traditionally, you add sugar and then a scoby. And scoby is an acronym for symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast, or symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. And that scoby is really what interfaces with the sweet tea mixture that ultimately brews kombucha. So the yeast eats the sugar, the bacteria, um, basically is the probiotics that then come out in the end product. So really our job is just to create an environment that both the bacteria and the yeast thrive in.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's talk about how Whole30 approved kombucha is made differently, because I know that historically and traditionally, sugar is a big part of that fermentation process. But when we got that phone call from Jamie a few years ago, who said, Jamie said, I have this kind of out there idea. We would love to make a Whole30 kombucha without any added sugar. I remember saying to her, I don't think that you can do that. And obviously you can do that. So talk to us about how that happened.
You can really, the sugar is just it's just the fuel for the yeast. So for us, instead of then using cane sugar, we use fruit juices, which again just makes the fuel for the yeast in the fermentation process. So instead of cane sugar, we use fruit juice, and then in the end product, when we do the flavoring, there's also no added sugar. There's no additional sugar added back in. Whereas on our original line, we do add some cane sugar back into some of the flavors, but Whole30 we don't.
I love that so much. It's what made Whole30 approved kombucha possible for the last few years. There can definitely be some health benefits to kombucha. So, kombucha can contain live probiotics, which are really healthy for your gut. It contains antioxidants. It may even be supportive of your immune system. But one of the things I love the
Mm-hmm.
most about Humm and your mission is that you were like health benefits aside, we just want this to taste delicious. We want this to be a fun, sparkling, delicious alternative to water or other beverages, especially for people who are not drinking right now or doing a Whole30. What was your thought process in,
Yes.
putting flavor first?
Yeah, absolutely. Melissa, this was our it was our thought process from the very, very beginning. Because again, back in 2008, 2009, kombuchas that were on the market, it was still, although kombucha is a 2,500-year-old drink that originates from China, kombucha in the West wasn't a part of it wasn't a part of our experience. Really, only GTs at that point had distribution across the countries, but it also is very vinegary in taste. So for us, we knew that we could make the same health benefits and just have it taste great. So we just got excited. We got excited about creating. And back to the farmers markets, whichever juices were the most popular for the market in Bend, Oregon at the time, were the ones that we ended up bottling. And, as the company went forward and as we got more people that actually do market research on flavors that are trending, et cetera, then we started becoming a little bit more sophisticated, if you will, on our choices of flavors. But really, it's it's always been about that. We've always wanted it to taste amazing so that more people could have the same benefits.
I mean, I don't care what the health benefits might be. If it does not taste good, I'm not going to be consuming, a can every afternoon as part of my like really fun afternoon ritual. That having been said,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
remember working with Humm Kombucha to formulate the initial flavor offerings for the Whole30 approved line. I think we launched
Mhm.
with strawberry blossom, mixed berry, mango lemon, and ginger. And I remember tasting
Yes.
some flavors that didn't quite make the cut. How did you arrive at
Mhm.
the flavor mix for our Whole30 approved kombuchas?
So I actually have a mixed berry right now. It's so good. Um, but how we arrived at it, I don't know. I do know. What I will say is that we have a genius R&D team. Those two, and it's small. There are two people that basically make all of the flavors at Hum, which is incredible. And they are like magicians. I don't know how they make it happen so amazing every time, but they do. And they were really the ones um, that were playing with a lot of different flavors, some which we already had in house for our original line that we thought, okay, well, what if we took a little of this and a little of that and blended it together and made these flavors? But they really were the brains behind that original lineup. And when we tasted some of the ones that didn't make a cut, it just was, we have a tasting team here. So we had a bunch of people in the room trying all the different flavors, and where we have a whole sheet of different questions that we go through, and the ones that didn't make the cut uh, didn't make the cut.
I mean, I remember everything I tried was really, really tasty, but there were some that just really knocked my socks off. The first time I tried the mango lemon was just an absolute like 10 out of 10 knockout. And we always do
Yeah.
seasonal flavors with the Whole30 approved Hum kombuchas. And right now, the
Mm-hmm.
summer seasonal flavor is cherry limeade, which is so delicious. How fun is it coming up with these
It's
seasonal
so
flavors?
good.
Yeah.
So much fun. I love our seasonal line, whether it's with Whole30 and then and our original line. The seasonals are always a place where we can play a little bit. We know we're only going to have it out for a handful of months. And certainly we'll look at flavors that are trending and what people are buying, what's exciting on the market. But really, the way I see it is a chance for us to just be able to play a little bit. And cherry limeade was so much fun to create.
Yeah, that one was really exciting to launch this summer as well with the Whole30 community. So we've been really excited for that one. One of the things I'm noticing as I look at my can of kombucha Whole30 approved is the sugar grams, the total sugar grams are really low, single digits. I think that says 8, but I'm old now and I need reading glasses and I don't have them on. But I think it says 8 grams, and I know the average
Yes.
kombucha has at least 13 grams of
Mhm.
sugar, and some of them are even in the 20s. Why was it so
Mhm.
important for you to create specific lines of very low sugar kombucha?
Mhm. Yeah, the reason is, as of course, you are a pro at educating all of us on this, but there is so much hidden sugar in the American diet or in the average American diet. So whether it's in bread or milk or pasta sauce or whatever it is, it's just a lot of sugar that I think a lot of people don't even know that they're taking in if they're not paying attention. We didn't want to be a part of that. We never have wanted to be a part of that, and have wanted to um, just help move the needle in the other direction. So that always has been really important to us. Every single one of our kombuchas are in the single digits, whether it's our original line or our Whole30 line. Or we actually have a zero sugar kombucha as well that's made with allulose. And again, we just wanted to provide options for people. The original line is low sugar anyway. The Whole30 is no added sugar, even lower, and then the zero is zero.
What I really appreciate that is as a parent, my son loves kombucha, but I don't always love the amount of sugar that he's drinking on top of the rest of his diet. We're not super strict about his diet. He doesn't have, too many food sensitivities or, attention issues or anything that we're trying to mitigate for. But we do try to keep an eye on added sugar in his diet. And it's really nice to know that we can keep Hum Kombucha, the Whole30 approved ones, in the house, and he can have a can. And I know that he's not getting, so much sugar that he's going to be like wound up like a top for the next 2 hours.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, same with me. I have two kids as well, or I have two children. They're um, 10 and 13, and it's always been important to me that I give them something that they can drink and I feel good about and they love. And I wouldn't do well with a bunch of sugar in the middle of the afternoon. It wouldn't work for me. So why would I want to sell it to everybody else?
I know, I feel the same way. That's why it's like, it's become part of my kind of afternoon ritual. And I'm not drinking alcohol right now. I haven't in a really long time. And I just like that this gives me such a festive, fun, sparkling way to enjoy something that is like better than just plain old ice water or even sparkling water.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what's next for Hum Kombucha? Can you give us any sneak peeks as to what's coming up for either your other lines or your Whole30 approved lines? What can you tell us?
Oh, that's exciting. Well, I know that the R&D team is working on some new things for Whole30, but I was told by our marketing department that I can't give anything away yet. So you got to hold on the Whole30 bit. But what I can share is that we just launched, and I actually brought it because I love it so much. We launched our unicorn edition at Sprouts, and I think Target has just recently picked it up as well. So we're starting to do just like our seasonals, where it allows us a little space to play in some of these flavors. We're doing kind of an LTO line, limited time offering, where we have unicorn, and the unicorn is going to have a magical creature friend showing up soon. So that is coming. We also, some of the other fun things that we're working on is we do a line of probiotic seltzers and probiotic sodas. So they are not kombucha, but they are very healthy, very low sugar. In fact, the probiotic seltzers, I'm sure are Whole30 approved if we've not actually. I think we wrote it on the cans too. But anyway,
Yes.
the sodas are not because they do have a little bit of additional sugars. But they're just other ways to enjoy a healthy beverage that adds a little extra sparkle to your sparkling water.
I love that. And I love that there are so many different hum options when people are done with their Whole30, where in
Free or
their food
frozen again.
freedom, they can go explore other options and other products like your new unicorn, which I think I did see in Sprouts the other day. And I wasn't sure what it was all about, but I'm going to have to go back and taste test it now.
It's so much fun.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for joining us. I'm so excited to share a little bit more about Whole30 approved home kombucha, a little bit more behind the scenes. I want to just thank you for being here and sharing more. And for everyone watching to learn more about Whole30 approved hum kombucha, to buy it online, because that's a really quick and easy way to get your hands on some, or to see where you can find it in a store near you, head to the link down in the caption where we will share all the details. Michelle, thanks so much for joining me here today.
Oh, you're welcome, Alyssa. Thanks for having me.